We're back.
Back and better than ever.
Oh, yeah. I love that we're actually staying consistent with this because I almost felt like we weren't going to do it, and we're on our A game.
What, this week?
Yeah.
No, we got to stay with it. We got to stay with it. Once you put your mind to something, you just got to stick with it because, like, what's the point of putting your mind to something if you don't stick with it?
100%. And I feel like the consistency really just builds on that. Like, the more that you actually, like, you continue doing it, even if, like, you go off schedule, even if you're not right on your A game right off the bat, and it takes you time. Like, right now we're on, We're on, like, the 6th podcast or something like that?
This is number 6.
Wild. Like, we didn't record this on Tuesday, but we're still here.
Yeah.
We're still doing it.
Yeah.
We're still out here because at the same time, if we stop doing it this week, that might put us at, like, a setback, and we won't do it the next week. And then maybe we'll do it the next week and we'll fall out of flow. And it's really about, like, understanding that you need that consistency, even if it's not exactly how it's supposed to be. Just not falling out of it.
Oh, yeah. And it's even as simple as my mom records her steps every day.
Oh.
So she has a Fitbit, and she records her steps. She tries to hit her step goal every day. And it doesn't matter. And it's not like it's like a big deal if you don't meet your step goal. But she's got this streak going for quite some time. It's probably 1,000 days or so.
How many steps
more.
does she do a day?
I think she does. I don't know exactly how many she tries to do a day, but like if she doesn't hit it, she's walking around the kitchen at 10:30 at night until she gets it. And it's just like, it's that principle of I have to do it so that I force myself to do it again tomorrow. And if I do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. If I do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. And just building that consistency and that discipline into your life allows you to really explore what you're truly capable of.
Right, exactly. And then you get to see that growth in the future. Like your mom can look back like 1,000 days, like, dude, I did all of this. Even on my worst days that I didn't want to get up and do it, you still had that drive that say, I have to do this, and you get it done, and you look back and you're like, holy cow, look at that.
Yeah. And it's just the small wins that just compound up, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel fulfilled. When you keep winning every day, and it doesn't matter how small, it's making your bed in the morning, it's sitting there and remembering to floss your teeth when you wake up, or it's remembering to, you know what, like, let me go take the trash out and not forget this week. Like,
exactly.
It's those little things that really compound, and that's where that growth comes from.
So true. And I feel like I know I did when I first started. I was getting like overwhelmed by seeing like so many different ways to grow, so many different directions, so many different things to learn and grow and become better at, that I got overwhelmed, and I almost like, I didn't even want to do anything because I saw, oh man, I got to go run a mile. Oh, I got to run 10 miles. Oh, but there's other people doing all these different things. And then I started thinking, I want to journal, read, do this, that, meditate, and all this at the same time. But I just had to slow down and realize it's really the small things. One day at a time. Get up out of bed. If it's just getting up out of bed, then it's just getting up out of bed. And you did something. Pat yourself on the back. If it's smiling at yourself in the mirror, if it's telling yourself that you're worthy, that's a step forward in the right direction. That's a step forward into your future. That's growth. If you just don't do any of that, which it's so possible, like to just sit and rot. It's so possible. And it's hard to get out of there. But when you do get out of there, and you do get the growth, and you do achieve the goals that you've been wanting to do but getting overwhelmed at, that's where it's all about. I feel like taking those small wins and just amplifying on that over a long period of time rather than getting congested with it in the beginning is what it's all about.
And there's no one formula to growing and building upon what you've already created for yourself. Every journey is completely unique.
Absolutely.
Right? So some people, you got David Goggins running crazy marathons and doing crazy feats of strength with his body, or you have people like Wim Hof who are sitting in ice water for hours, and you have people who are in the UFC and fighting and martial arts. Like, these are all different avenues or paths to get to the same place,
Yeah.
which is a more fulfilling life.
And that's even like entrepreneurs, like just you and I.
Exactly. Those are just physical feats that I'm kind of speaking
sure.
on, because I'm very into the fitness aspect and
Yeah.
holistic health aspect of everything. But obviously, even look at people like Tony Robbins, look at people like Grant Cardone, look at people like these entrepreneurial people who are really creating wealth for themselves and just building as people, building this whole community around them, around their positivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Try my best, with the podcast, everything that we're doing. But it's really about actually staying with it, really getting to that place, which is very hard, but I feel it's worth it.
No, it will be worth it. And it's a lot about believing in yourself so that other people believe in you, because there's an inherent understanding when you talk to somebody else when they don't believe in themselves, or so if you hold that belief inside of you that, okay, I believe this to be true, I know this to be true,
Sure.
I trust this to be true, and you put that trust in yourself, you put that trust out in the world, out in the universe, like you see that reflected back to you when you're interacting with other people, like they trust it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like your energy is insanely, like, I want to say reflective. I don't know if that's the right word.
Mm-hmm.
You feel it. Like if I'm having a conversation, like when I had that conversation with you when we first met, right off the bat, I knew you know what you're about. You knew yourself, and that's why I was able to radiate my energy back to you, saying, "Yo, I hear you. I hear you as a person. I hear you as a ball of energy, as like a soul. Here's my energy. Well, here's my energy. Let's try and make this world a better place."
Exactly. And the world's a mirror.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And like if I come in here one day and I'm gassed up and I'm yelling and I'm hooting and hollering, and you're going to be gassed up, yelling and hooting and hollering, and we're going to have a very energetic day. But then if you come in one day or I come in one day down in the dumps and not feeling it, you're going to pass that on to me. Mm-hmm. Like it balances out. It's a balancing act, life. So whatever you're putting out in the world, you're going to see reflected back to you. Whatever's going on in here, you're going to see reflected back in the external world.
And I feel like definitely like the people you surround yourself with takes a huge take on that. Your friends, your family, the people who you listen to on social media, the pages that you allow into your mind, they shape the person that you become. And I said this before and I'll say it again. It's about what you allow into your mind that creates the person that you become for now and for your future. It's not about going into your past and worrying about what you did 3 years ago, how you screwed up and you did some stupid things that made a fool of you. It's about what you're allowing yourself now to accept, to appreciate, to love, to be.
But you also have to remember that past self 2-3 years ago.
Sure.
You've got to accept, love, forgive that past so it doesn't follow you into the future.
Yeah.
Because that whole shadow that you have, it follows you around everywhere. And you may not realize it because it's all happening within your subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. It's not happening in the forefront of your mind, but you understand that those emotions that you felt that in that past are following you into the future. And if you don't deal with them and come to terms with those past emotions, they'll stick with you and they will affect you.
Yeah, for sure. And I find that using some past things as motivation has helped me, where if I know that in a given situation I would normally do X, I still accept that. I'm at peace with it. But I'll do Y now. I'll be like, no. I'm gonna do exactly opposite what I used to do because I know that used to be negative and now I'm a positive person. Label, I'm a positive person. Using labels to your advantage too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the easiest way to do things, or the way that you've done things before doesn't mean it's the right way to do things.
Mm-hmm. Constantly changing.
The
pivot.
Mm-hmm. And it's inviting change. It's not fighting change. Because I think people are scared of change. People are scared to go into a new job or scared to enter a new relationship or scared to make a lifestyle change of eating healthy and working out. But at the end of the day, if you invite that change and you welcome it into your life, that change is what's going to allow you to grow and love yourself.
And that thing is fair though. Like, I just want to make that a comment. Change is scary.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, change is, but it's everything. That's the whole thing. It's literally like, not everything's temporary. Seasons, people, feelings, emotions, everything. And if you take that and you say, I'm going to hold on to it, and then you try and change, which the change is already hard enough as it is, you just become a big mess being drawn in 800 different directions. So taking that time to understand that the change is going to be a little hard, taking that time to understand that the change will take time, taking that time to understand that the change will benefit you, like you said, that's amplifying on it. That's taking it a step further. Comprehension, internalization.
Mm-hmm.
Feel me?
Yeah, and that change, like you said, it doesn't happen in a day. And that a lot of times that change, at least for me, I'd say a lot of my realizations about myself and my work on my past self comes when I'm going into the depths of the deepest part of myself, when I'm like running or I'm working out hard, and it's when I'm pushing myself in pain. Like, you have to suffer through that pain right now to really come to terms with it in the past too. So like, something I'll do is, like, when I'm running, I mean, I kind of took this concept from David Goggins, honestly. And when I'm running, or like I'm working out today, I'm doing a HIIT circuit. You know what that is? High intensity interval training. So for example, this morning I did 5 sets of jump rope for a minute, and then after every set of jump rope, I broad jumped the entire length of a gym, and then jogged back, and then did 5 burpees.
You're a beast.
So I did that, it took me 10 minutes and whatever, 10 minutes and change to do that. And like, I'm struggling by the last 2 sets of it, and like, I'm sweating, I'm dripping sweat, and it's just about talking to myself and saying like, come on, you can't back out now. You can't back out now. Like, don't be a bitch. Like, keep going, keep pushing. Like maybe you would have backed out a year ago, but you're not backing out right now. Like, and that's just, and finding a way to motivate yourself. Like, that's what it is that if you influence yourself to talk positively all the time, that self-talk translates in every aspect of life. So not only am I influencing myself to keep going and keep pushing in the gym in the morning, but I'm doing the same thing when I'm surfing, and I'm doing the same thing when I'm going into my career, and when I'm going and I'm doing my job, anything. This translates everywhere.
Wow. Wait, did you read David Goggins' book?
I haven't read his book, but I've just listened to hours and hours of him on podcasts. Same.
His podcast with Joe Rogan was fascinating.
Amazing, yeah.
So good. I wanna read his books. That guy he's a work of art. Because he doesn't like doing anything that he's doing also, which is such a great lesson to learn from. The fact that he still gets up. He hates running. Have you seen the pictures
of his knees?
Oh my gosh. I wish I could pull that up like Joe Rogan right now.
Yeah.
But dude, his knees, for anybody listening, his knees are atrocious. They're bone to bone, and he's still running on them.
Putting 10 plus miles a day on them.
Wild. And it's all in his mind. He chose to build this mindset, to embody this mindset. And that really just made him able to do superhuman things.
To stay hard.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And so this concept that I was just talking about, I took from him, and he talks about he uses these activities that he doesn't like going in cold water and running long distances, to go into the depths of hell, to go into what he calls the dark matter of the soul.
Yeah.
Right? And go in, and he pulls out that inner bitch. He pulls out that inner bitch, and he throws it out of him. And he's the purest, most true version of himself. And if you can, I'm not saying go out and run 10 miles every day. I'm not saying go do these crazy things, but I'm saying take this information, take everything that you hear with a grain of salt. I like to think of everything as a lesson. Everything I see is a lesson. The whole world is constantly teaching us all the time. Like, this earth is a curriculum. Like, come on, like let's keep learning from it.
Yeah. Side point, I really like your outfit.
Thank you.
I like how you match the beanie to your pants.
Appreciate it. This shirt's fun.
This shirt
it's got
too.
Cactuses and guys
Where's
playing
this
guitar and surfboards on it.
Where'd you get this from?
The Quicksilver store, I think.
Epic.
In the mall.
I love your surf gear. Sick.
Yeah, dude. I feel like I just kind of wear logo tees most of the time because I don't like having a big label on my chest. I realize.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like having. Like, I didn't like having a Monmouth football label on my chest when I was walking around campus, or like, I don't like wearing like a Brick Dragons from my high school. Like, I just like having something and it's like, oh, like that's,
something fun and cute.
Yeah, that's neat.
I love it. You got to still make that design that you made.
The Stop Tripping one?
Yeah, you got to make that design.
I know, I need to.
You got to make that design.
I was telling my friend about it. I'm going to have to digitize it this week. Since I'm home this weekend, maybe I'll get some time tomorrow to do it.
Cool, let me know. We for everybody listening, we make everything in-house, like the designs we make in-house. So Cory came up with this cool design, and I want him to put it on a T-shirt. So that's what we're talking about.
I would love like a XX crew neck with that right on it. You know,
go for it by all means.
I think that's the idea, because like the same idea that you have is all this stuff is art, like wearable art.
Yeah,
that's such an interesting concept, rather than, oh, I'm going to go get Nike, or I'm going to get Adidas or Under Armour and get these big name brands where they're just churning out
thousands
of
random things.
Yeah, and it's not really it's a creative endeavor, but it's not pure in a sense. Like, somebody is sitting down and making every Nike design. Somebody's sitting down and making every Adidas shoe.
I just don't. It got to a point where they just throw labels on things. Yes, the designs are created by designers. Like, their actual garments are the art more than the design is the art. Do you understand what that means? Mm-hmm. So that's why I don't completely hate the bigger brands, because they do have the capabilities to bring in-house people to manage like larger projects where they can churn out completely like perfect pieces. You go to Uniqlo. They have like these pants. They have like a drawstring on the inside and like a perfect belt thing, a perfect waistband. Sorry, I could go on for hours about this stuff. I love that the design structure of garments, but I love the art too, and that's why I love doing what I'm doing over here with the sketchbook. How I literally just take my paint pen, and I just go crazy with it. And I like drawing designs. So
do you just do one thing on each page?
So I was doing one thing on each page, and then I do, you know what? I don't really have rules to it. I think that's something that anybody who's looking into just creative expression can learn from. It's that there's no rules to creation. It's just about creating something. It's just about the art in itself. Like, you can use up a full page on something, or you can use up nothing. And regardless of what you choose to do, it's completely okay, because there's no rules. Mm-hmm. I love that. So here it's like... Wait, here. I'm going to go pause this. Yeah. I'm going to restart it. So it stopped?
No. Probably. It's still going, but I
just
want to ensure that
Yeah, I love these headphones.
They're good?
They're so good. Still going? I forgot what I was saying.
You were just talking about your creative, how there's no rules.
No rules. You're able to cut, right? To make it sound cohesive. So like here, for example, you are art, or just this is only temporary. All these different things. Like here, I'm using one page for each different thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm not opposed to just opening this back up and taking like some black Sharpie. Yeah, sure. Like I'm not opposed to just taking black Sharpie and putting it on the other page. Like either or is completely fine. So what I'm doing with these right now, the concept that I have is making designs that I connect with, that I've connected with through growth, and then I want to post them on social media and see what everybody likes. And then whatever people like, instead of me just creating designs for myself and saying, all right, that's a cool design, I'm going to go with it. I'm just going to let people see what resonates with them more, and then I'm going to create a hoodie, and then I'm going to sell the hoodie.
Maybe some sort of audience-involved way of deciding what should be on the next collection.
Right. So I feel like posting it and then, like, I guess seeing general feedback in the comments is the best idea.
Or you could do Twitter polls, like which design do you like the best? And
I gotta get into the Twitter polls.
Yeah.
That's honestly probably the best way to go about it, because right now it's about seeing who cares most about what's being put out. Because I'm not going to put out something that people don't want and then it's a waste to society. I want to put out something that people will connect with. I want to put out something that people feel whole with. Like, I'm wearing a design that I love. I embody it. Like, somebody compliments me on it. Yeah, I'm getting a compliment on it because that's what I'm representing. That's what I'm talking about. That's who I am. You know? So right now, majority of my audience is on TikTok, and I don't really have such a large audience on Instagram or Twitter yet. And I know with time that'll come, with consistency it'll come. But I'm just trying to figure out, I guess it'll just be a trial and error thing like everything else. Like seeing what works best for my business, seeing what works best for the brand, seeing what works best for my audience, for the people, for you listening right now. Like, what works best for you? And I guess that's a good question. What, for you listening right now, I don't know your name, but I appreciate you for listening. What works best for you in a scenario like this? If I post pictures of my art and I want to make designs that you might connect to, what works best for you? Right now, I know my social platform that I'm most active on is Instagram. So if you could just leave a DM, I'll check it. Or if you want to leave a comment on my page, I'll check it. Regardless of what it is, I'm just looking for some general feedback. And I guess that's a good way to figure it out from here. But I mean, with time, the trial and error process is universal. It happens with everything, and I guess I'm experiencing it with you right now. I guess live.
Yeah, and the trial and error process too. Like you said before, like it's a waste to the world, but I don't think anything is a waste. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think if you put out a hoodie and nobody buys it that it was a waste. It's a learning experience. Like everything's a learning experience.
I guess you're right.
Like I like to view everything. Everything is meant to happen. And if you start embodying the belief that everything that occurs to you is occurring for you and it's meant to happen, your whole life begins to transform into this synchronicity.
Everything happens for a reason.
Exactly. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is happening for me. So like for me today, that guy hit a break dance in the gym this morning. Like for me, that happened. And then for me, I decided to come home and cook my breakfast. And then and it's stuff like that. And it's even the bad things. Like I scratched up the side of my car 2 weeks ago on the Parkway. And like
all for the best.
And all for and like it happened. And my initial reaction was to just curse right after it happened. But then like I took a breath and I was like, thank you, like I'm alive, like it's fine, and like
I love your mindset,
and just being able to just offer that gratuity and say, you know, that was meant to happen. This is a learning experience. The whole rest of your life just begins to fall into place.
Oh my goodness, and so peacefully. There's no stress when that happens, because you show up, something wrong happens. Instead of you flipping out, burning up, getting angry, you just become so content. Okay, what's next? What's next? And you can get hit again and again and again. And as long as you have that positivity that you've worked on day and night, that's like serenity, just peaceful, just harmony. Oh, I love thinking about how that makes me feel when something so harsh would come in my way, and I was just like, all right, on to the next. Here we go.
It's all about, rather than reacting, it's about reflecting on what happened.
Instantly, too.
Instantly. And it's an instantaneous reaction. So I know that we talked about this in an earlier podcast, but rather than judging as soon as something happens. You send love to it. You send gratitude towards it. And you just put yourself in a place of understanding and acceptance. And stop fighting life. Like a lot of people go around fighting life. Like, oh, this girl's can't go on a date with me. She canceled. Now I'm all mad. Like,
what?
Who cares? Or like,
exactly.
Oh, I didn't get this job. This frustrates me. Like, no, like it was meant to happen. Like, let it happen and take a lesson from it. Take this as an opportunity. Everything is a new opportunity.
Exactly. And life is good. That's one thing that also is something that why people are inherently that way, because it seems like life is all a game. It's all hard. Everything is hard, and that's the trick. It's once you get to the point of understanding that everything is good, no matter what it is, that you say, you know what? I didn't get that job. That's for a reason. Now maybe next week you'll get a better job. Maybe this will happen. You have to think positively about the universe. You have to think positively about everything that's going on around you in order for that energy to reciprocate back to you. In my religion, I believe that my God is a merciful God. There is nothing wrong in the world. Not one thing. This world is perfect. And we have to just comprehend 100%. If we stub our toe, it's for a reason. And then we try and assign meaning to it. Like, why did I stub my toe? Like, what happened? Mm-hmm. And that just builds you. That builds your positive mindset. That builds you to become more aware of the things that you're allowing into your mind, and then acting on that when you get a negative thought. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a negative thought. Boom, cancel, decline. I'm not answering that call. Not letting that come into my head. It's a stupid thought. Why should I have it come into my head? I don't need it.
And what you're talking about, this whole self-growth journey is about building a sense of self-awareness and cultivating a heightened sense of self-awareness, coming in tune with your emotions, coming in tune with your desires,
exactly,
coming in tune with everything in the external world outside of you. If you're completely just tapped into where you are right now, what you're feeling right now, your whole entire life begins to happen in the present moment. Because if you're experiencing stress is only you stress is just you leaving the present moment. You left. You thought that moment could be better. You thought that moment would be better than this one that we have right now.
Or you thought that moment could affect your moment right now. Or
exactly.
that's gonna happen on that. Not living in the present. For sure. 100%. And it's about really internalizing the present too. Because once you internalize all of that, you become more loving to yourself. And then you can take that love and give it out to other people. It's not about, I said this in my TikTok, it's not about finding the love in other people and then giving it out to yourself, And I said that wrong. It's not about finding love within other people and then accepting it within yourself. It's about finding the love within yourself and then giving it out to the whole world. It's about being one, being love, being you, and then you can share. Don't look for it in another partner. Don't look for it in friends. Don't look for it in your work. Don't look for it in things that have no significant substance. Look for it in a place that's only you. Only you know you. Only you are you.
When you look within yourself, you find an abundance of it. And only with an abundance of it can you truly offer it out to the world. Right? You find that an abundance of love. You find an abundance of gratitude, an abundance of joy and bliss. And you find all these elevated emotions and you say, I've got too much. I need to share. I need to impact others. I need to serve others positively. I need to love everybody that goes by me. And it's impossible for you to not be offering it out to the world because your cup's too full. Like you're overflowing with these things. So you need to offer it out to the world.
Yeah. Like I read this morning in it's a sefer called Pirkei Avot. It's whenever you greet somebody, you should greet them with a smile. You should greet them with a pleasant face. That's what it says. You should greet them with a pleasant face. Sharing your love, sharing your smile with everybody around you makes the world a better place. Which brings me to to this idea of we're put here to make this world better. We're put here to become the best version of ourselves and make this world the best version of itself, to constantly grow the world. And what better way to do it than by starting within yourself and then gradually giving it out to everybody else?
And there's a whole world within you. So if you can shape and create that world that you have full control of, you can shape this world outside of you too. Like I've been writing in my journal, one of my new affirmations is I am the master of reality. I am the master of my reality. And I write that every day because if I write that down and I embody, I am the master of this reality. Like nothing outside of me can sway me internally. Like nothing holds power over me. Like I hold the ultimate power right now. I hold the ultimate power in this relationship that I have with reality. So the world is at my fingertips. The world is in the palm of my hand. Like anything that I want, anything that I desire, like it flows to me, it comes to me. And you start holding these beliefs of abundance and radiance, and the whole world, you literally watch the world just change in front of you.
Wow. How long have you been journaling for?
I've been journaling. I've been journaling for now since about last fall, but I really only got deep into it and getting vulnerable on myself, I'd say, probably this summer.
Yeah, because it's also hard to get. It's hard to
because
get vulnerable.
Yeah, there's a step in journaling where it's okay. I'm writing my thoughts down. I get this thought and I write it down, or I get this idea and I write it down, and it's great. You get all the chatter that's bouncing around inside your skull. You get it out and you see it, and it's not there anymore. Now you don't have to think about it. Now you can just look at it. And that's great when your ideas are on paper. But when you can get vulnerable on yourself and you can write something down and you want to erase it. You know when you write something down on a page and you want to erase it, and then you say, you know what? No, I wrote that down because that's how I feel. And then you continue with that idea. It opens up new dimensions of yourself. It opens up new dimensions of your own being, because when you write down the thought that you fight so deeply in your own head, when you put that on a piece of paper and you look at it, you realize maybe it's not so scary. Why have I been fighting this? And you start to come to terms with yourself, and you start to understand yourself much more deeply.
Yeah. And I feel like that's one of the hardest parts of journaling. It's really internalizing that no matter what you put on the paper is fine. Even if you think, oh, I don't know if that's really me. I don't know if I want other people to know this. I don't know if I want myself to know this. But as soon as you let it out and you say, here we go, I'm just going to pour my heart out, not have any rules to it. It's like an art too. There's no rules. Not have any rules to it. Just be free. Just allow my mind to finally hit the unlock switch. It's been holding me back from achieving my inner competence and my inner self orb that I just want to finally express to the world, you know? It's so beautiful. It's so empowering.
See, what I really like about journaling, and what I like about this self-growth and self-awareness, is think about a child, right? A child, a newborn baby. It's so pure. That baby is so pure. It doesn't have any of these desires or beliefs that we've come to believe throughout our lives. Like, we've created ourselves from the time of birth until right now. And as you start to get these thoughts out of your head, you start to get these beliefs and afflictions and aversions and desires, and you get them out of your head and you see them and you accept them and you love them, you get that much closer to being that purity that you once were when you were born, right? You were pure. You were pure awareness when you were born, and you come closer and closer to that. Like babies cry when they're born because that's the worst thing that's ever happened to them, because nothing else has ever happened to them.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So like, when you change your perception to that of purity, like you start realizing like, oh my goodness, like I'm so innocent, I'm so pure, like this life is just so playful.
Mm-hmm.
And you start literally playing with life.
Yeah, the clarity that you gain is just immensely beautiful. Like I even have on here, so I've this is my journal. I have to see, to listen, for vision, for creation, draw clarity. And then in the first page, it says the date that I started this one, and then it says write your way through it. Because that's essentially what you're doing. I have the little motion over here, ups and downs to show the good and the what seems bad, but the ups and downs in life. But yeah, I never understood why journaling was so important until I actually started it. No matter how many times people have spoken about it, no matter how many videos I've seen on it, nothing did justice until I actually started. Right here I have 2 journals. I have one for work and one for personal. Like, it just keeps growing.
I've got a lot of journals.
Yeah.
I write
3, I guess.
I try and write. I try and get everything that's in my head out because I like to think that ideas go stale. Sometimes you were forgetting what you wanted to talk about on the podcast before.
Oh my gosh.
Like if you could just take every idea that you have and just put it down somewhere and then be able to go look back at it. And it doesn't mean that you're going to. That's the beauty of it, is when you start getting these ideas out, more and more come, and they start coming exponentially. These ideas are growing exponentially. Your imagination takes off.
Yeah, like you don't write to write things down. You write to figure things out. That's what you do. And I'm getting a call right now. Oh, lovely. But when you actually start writing, it's a beautiful sensation of not knowing what's going to come out next. And then you just see it and you're like, damn, exactly. You're like telling yourself, keep going, man, keep going. That's what I got to right now. But if you've never started journaling and you feel that this is something that would benefit you, which it would, just start small. Get a paper, get a little notebook. Go to the dollar store, get a little notebook. I have this little thing. It's called my little happiness journal. It's a tiny little notebook, and I showed it on my TikTok live. I was going through it. I was reading a few things that I wrote like last year, and how I've grown from like going from a small little happiness journal to like trying out a different type of journal to one. And then I just finally got consistent with it, and I said, "Yo, this is actually helping me." And now I have a bunch of different journals, but get a small journal and just write down, like, I want to say dumb things, but anything you write down is not dumb. Just write down something, even if it's 1 line a day. Just get the most annoying thing off your chest. Make it like your best friend, your journal. Just write it. I am feeling like this. I got out of bed this morning. Compliment yourself. It doesn't have to be one way or another. I'm going to give you a couple different examples right now. Write down in your journal, I did this today. Here's what I did yesterday. What am I looking forward to when I wake up in the morning? What's one thing I'm looking forward to start the day if you're journaling in the morning? All these different little things will get you going, and then over time you'll eventually just put whatever it is. Like
start taking off.
Yeah, like you full blown draw in your journal. You like
I doodle. I do a lot of positive self-talk and affirmations in my journal. And I've found that when I write that down, not only do I write it down, but like if I'm home alone, I don't like being too loud when my housemates are there, but I'll literally talk out loud as I'm writing in my journal. Like I'll say what I'm writing.
Good.
Like I'll write it down like I am magnetic, I am abundant, I am radiant, I am attractive. Like I'll say these things out loud. And like the other day I was writing, because when I find something in myself, like say I find, oh, that's a deeply held belief, or that's an insecurity that I just found, like interesting. Let me write it. Let me explore it further. The way for me to explore those things is through journaling, is through writing.
Yeah.
So like one thing that I was exploring with last week was, or not last week, it was actually this week, but I was like, the concept of old friends. Like, you ever get somewhat of an anxiety talking, not anxiety, but like a feeling of like, do I have to put this mask on and be my old self for this old friend right now?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, you're not up to this so-and-so anymore. It's like, nah, not doing that, man. Like, I'm this new person. So going in and investigating the concept of old friends had me realize that I'm not my old self anymore. I'm not that past self. I'm embodying this future self and this present self that I am.
That's beautiful.
And that takes, when you just write down a completely abstract concept and then dive into it, it opens up all these pathways in your mind. Like, your mind just becomes so imaginative and creative. Wow. And that stuff turns into art. Like, maybe I'll write a song about that. Maybe I'll write a poem about that, or do a piece of art about it.
Whatever you want.
Literally.
And if you don't want anything to come from it, nothing's got to come from it either. That's the beauty of it. It's done. 41 minutes. All right, we're going to wrap up over here. But thank you, everybody, for listening. I think this one, I actually like this podcast the most. I feel like I say this about everyone.
Nah, this time I'm going to agree with you. I think this is a very good podcast.
It had more direction. We're giving ourselves some feedback. You guys get to listen behind the scenes. Had a little bit more direction. It was needed. I feel like all of the things that we normally speak about are needed, but this was like right on target. I'm so glad.
No, it was very on target.
Very successful.
Very successful podcast.
Okay. Make sure you guys check us out on social media. I'm Hal and Doueck. Whoa, Hal and Doueck. Cory.
And I'm Cory Englehardt. Cory Englehardt on all platforms. CoryEnglehardt. Check it in the bio.
Epic.
Thank you guys for listening. Much love.
Thank you. Have a good one.